What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the CollecSean. Today we're going to be going over the current state of my pocket knives, aka my folders, and I'm going to rate them along the way. Okay, bottom of the list out of 15. This is coming in at number 15, the Spyderco Police. This is an older model. Buddy gifted this to me when I first started collecting mid-range, higher-end knives. Saw that I got really into Spyderco, had an extra one of these lying around, gave it to me. It's only number 15 because honestly it's in between a small and a medium-sized knife for me, which just doesn't find itself into my pocket. Other than that, it's a great knife. ATS 55, made in Seki City. It's just the size thing for me that brings it down to the last spot. Alright, so those of you familiar with the quarter scammers probably saw in my intro that I have quite a bit of these guys. Just a quick little touch on it. Quartermaster was around. They claimed to be making their knives in Texas. Somebody found out they were being made in China. They were in the process of doing like a subscription knife program and hit the whole exit scam on everybody and just kind of dipped before getting the last knife out to people. I was one of those people. So this is the QC3 from the first subscription batch. This thing's gigantic. It's really cool looking and everything in my opinion, but it's not practical to carry, so I don't. Number 13, another Quartermaster, the QSE-9, Mr. Strickland. Another thick boy, another interesting design from Quartermaster that I really liked at the time. I'm a sucker for a good Warncliffe blade, and this one has an interesting one. But interesting does not mean practical, which is why this is at its spot on the list. I don't carry it very often, unless I want to feel like Count Dooku, then in that case, it hits the mark. I really do think that if these guys were just transparent about their knives being made in China and just designed in the US, they could have been around today. But apparently there's a Texas in China, so there's that. Number 12, another Quartermaster, the QSE-7, the Spicoli. I know they're not around anymore, but I do still enjoy some of their knives and some of the stuff that I do have in the collection, which is why I haven't gotten rid of everything. I mean, I liked this one so much at one point that, as you can see, I had it sent out to a buddy on Instagram to have it anodized, this, purple drip over green. And, I really enjoyed this knife for a while. These days, not as much. I just think that it's kind of too bulky in the handles to blade ratio. But it's still cool. Definitely not going to get rid of it. Number 11, another Quartermaster. And I promise we'll get to other stuff after this one. But this is the QSE-8LT, the Emmett Doc Brown. The LT stands for Limo Tint, which is their DLC, as you can see, they're all black. I use this as my dress knife. This goes with me to weddings, dress-up events, anything that I just, need something slim, small, and a little, I guess, fancier looking. Like I said, I like a good Warncliffe blade. This does that for me. Other than that, though, it kind of just sits in the drawer. It's not bad. It's not great. It's alright. Number 10, the Civivi Mini Praxis. Once again, like I said, I don't mind things being made in China as long as we all know that they're being made in China. I've been a big fan of the Civivi line for quite a while. I stopped collecting for a good amount of time while I addressed some other hobbies. But I got this as a Secret Santa gift last Christmas as I was trying to, slowly ramp up getting back into collecting the knives. And it's been great so far. I've only had it for a few months, but, I wanted an Ultim knife and it scratched that itch and it does more than that. A solid little everyday beater knife. Number 9 is an Endura. The reason this is fairly high up on the list for me is a little bit of sentimental value. This was my first Spyderco. Same buddy that gave me the Police gave me this guy when he was first trying to get me into, more mid-range, higher-end knives and like EDC gear. And so I use this thing a lot. This is the VG10 variant. And, after I got, you know, a couple more knives, it did take a little bit of a back seat, but this thing still finds itself in my pocket and mostly my lady's pocket these days. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever get rid of this guy. Number 8, back to your regularly scheduled Quartermaster. So this one's the QTR-1, the Murdoch. Tiny little guy, but I will admit I do really like this one. It's small, and when I first saw it, I didn't think it was gonna like be ergonomic at all, but it feels pretty decent in the hand. It's not the best tiny knife, but it's not the worst tiny knife either. I just like the aesthetics of it. It's just really over the top for something so small too. I've used it a lot, as you can see and probably noticed in some of the other knives. Mirror polished edge by me on this guy. I've probably sharpened this thing 2 or 3 times. Decent amount. Number 7, the QSE-10, known as the Biff Tannen. So the main reason this one's so high up on the list is strictly because of that ano job. I did that ano job myself at Mike of Tai2 Designs workshop over in Hawaii. He let me do it. It was my first time in the ano tank. I did shock myself a little bit, but it still came out pretty solid. It's definitely not the most practical knife. It's pretty thick, but I love that ano job. I don't think I'd ever get rid of this. It's just kind of a memory thing for me. But I don't hate the Biff Tannen either. I do really like all the circuit type pattern, you know, milled in there, but yeah, it's not bad. Okay, now we're getting a little bit higher up in the list, close to the top 5, but this one didn't quite break it, but it was very close. This is the QC 2.2. This is the second knife from the second run of their subscription service before they dipped out on everybody, and I really like this one. I think it's just simple, it's clean. I like the shape, how it, you know, tapers from end to end, and it's a nice Tanto blade. Definitely still finds itself in my pocket every so often. Number 3 is 300. I don't even know if you guys can really see that, but that's what it says. So, all right, top 5, here we come. All right, number 5, Spyderco Techno. And this one's heavily modded. As you can see, it's got that wood grain texture blasted into the tie scales. That's a Moonglow backspacer. The blade's been acid washed. I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't remember who I had do this mod work. It was done on Instagram a long time ago. If I can find it later, I'll put it in the comments or in the description of the video. But I love the Techno. I'd love to get another one, a stock one. I know there's a newer one now, so maybe that. But there's a lot of other stuff on the list first, I gotta say. Number 4, the Spyderco Roc. I went through a mean cleaver blade phase for a minute. I haven't kept any other cleaver blades except for this one. And once again, this was a gift, but I was planning to buy one of these myself anyway, and it still wouldn't have left regardless if I had bought it or if it was a gift. I really like this one. It's a collaboration with Sergeyevchenko. It's just like the perfect size little pocket cleaver. It's not too much. It's not the most practical thing, but you can get a lot done with it. You can see I've put mine through some shit. It's got a little bit of rust spottings on there already, but still overall pretty decent shape. So of course a Quartermaster sneaks its way into the top 3, but I have to say this is actually my favorite of the ones that I have kept. This is the QC1. This is from the first batch of subscription knives, and I just like everything about this one. I like the shape, I like the blade shape, the blade style, the minimalistic look to it. This thing gets carried with me quite often still these days. That pocket clip is great for like sweatpants or like chino style pockets. It doesn't fit the best in jeans, but you know, it's one knife out of my collection with that issue. It's also why I'm not sure if I want to get the Wii Knives version or the Civivi version for a regular clip. but I really like this thing. Number 2, a Southern Grind Bad Monkey. So I actually picked this up at The Gathering number 7, if you guys are familiar with the Usual Suspects network. That was my first like big knife show. I saw this and I just immediately liked it, had to have it. Picked it up there at the show as like a, you know, souvenir, I guess, along with a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, I've had this since then. I don't know, I can't remember what year G7 took place, but this gets a lot of pocket time. As you can see, all those marks on the blade. I love this thing though. It's pretty indestructible. Put it through the ringer, and I love this Tanto blade with the double-sided tip. Such a nice little feature on there. And coming in hot at number 1, my Spyderco Domino. This is the sprint run with the blue weave laminate over the carbon fiber. This was also a gift. This one was a gift for my lady for our anniversary. I've had this for quite a while. As you can see from that pocket clip, all the blue ano's worn off on that deep carry pocket clip. I use this at least once or twice a week. It's my favorite knife. It just fits right in the hand. It cuts very well. Yeah, it doesn't really get much better than this for me, personally, and what I have on hand right now. But yeah, these are what have lasted and made it to the Keep collection. So yeah, these are the knives that have stayed with me over my 10 plus years of collecting knives and EDC gear. I'm getting back into it, and this round I plan to scratch a few grail itches. Hopefully I'll get my hands on a Sebenza, maybe an XM18. There's a couple other things, but anything you guys think I should add to the collection, drop it in the comments below, and let's get that new wish list going. Thanks guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Later.